Hey everyone, this is Ghost Typecaster, and today I am kicking off my series on Pokemon card collecting. I am new into the Pokemon card collecting world. I did do some when I was growing up, but had since sold off or lost the cards that I had growing up, so I'm starting off fresh like many of you may be. Maybe you're thinking about getting into Pokemon card collecting. Maybe you've got some lying around and you're not really sure what to do with them, or whether you should collect more or what they may be worth. So if you're in the same shoes as me, this is going to be the series for you. Going to start off collecting the base set Pokemon cards and move up from there, and kind of give you an idea of what I was looking for, some of the information about the cards, and what you can expect. Some tips and tricks I found out along the way, and give you an idea of what you should expect. So of course, the base set is nothing without the big three, the evolutions for the starter Pokemon, Blastoise, Venusaur, and of course the base set Charizard, which is one of the most sought after cards in not just Pokemon card collecting, but trading card games in general. So I managed to pick these cards up, and we're going to kind of go through them, and I'll give you kind of an explanation on each card, their conditions, what I picked them up for, and what you guys should do if you're looking to start off with a Pokemon cards in the base set. And we're going to start things off with my personal favorite from the three as far as the video games went, Venusaur. I always picked Bulbasaur as my starter Pokemon on my Pokemon Red game growing up on my Game Boy. The artwork is really awesome. It was done by Mitsuhiro Arita, same artist that did the art on the base set Charizard and did a lot of art for the Pokemon trading card game throughout the sets. I think it really shows off how cool Venusaur is, and of course there's that really great holographic background there. As you can see, I got the Pokemon card in the sleeve here, and it's in lightly played condition to moderately played condition, which is what it was advertised from the seller. There is some wearing on the edges here, on the top and on the sides, and on the front you can kind of take a good look. Maybe a couple of light scratches here and there, but it's kind of hard to tell with how they did the holographic background, but you can see maybe one little scratch right there. Again, some wear on the edges in the front, but overall in pretty good condition. Lightly played, moderately played. Next up we have the Blastoise, and this one is in slightly worse condition than the Venusaur, more of a moderately played card. You can tell by some of the wearing around the edges here. Seems to be more wear around the edges. You can definitely see that on the back side where there seems to be quite a bit more wear on the edges. Only one noticeable scratch, which is here in the Pokemon Power with the Rain Dance ability, which was actually a very popular mechanic back when the base set first came out. This card was seen in some competitive play in Rain Dance decks where they use that ability to quickly attach water energies to the Pokemon to get an upper hand fast. An interesting thing about this card as well, even though the starter Pokemon were meant to be complementary to each other, the Blastoise and also the previous two evolutions are weak to electric instead of grass, so kind of threw it off if you were trying to counter it with any kind of grass type Pokemon. It didn't have a weakness to them, so interesting fact. Very popular among collectors as well. This one is usually the second most popular of the set, with Venusaur being the third. And so it's in pretty fair condition. And of course the most popular card of the set, and probably of the trading card game in general, is the base set Charizard. Now as you can see, this one is probably in the best condition out of all three of the cards, which was really happy to find out. One maybe small little speck right there, but the wearing on the edges is far less than the previous two cards. When we look on the back here, you can see a little bit on the edges here on the back. The back wear is a little bit similar to the previous two, but the front wear seems to be a lot better. Of course, this was extremely popular, not just for its incredible artwork. It was also one of the best cards from a number perspective. It had the highest HP, tied with Chansey for 120 health points, and then also had this nasty attack fire spin that did 100 damage, which was a lot higher than pretty much all the other moves in the base set. Although it didn't see as much competitive play as a lot of the other cards, because it was a little too difficult to use, and with the Rain Dance deck being really popular, the weakness to water didn't help it out at all. But definitely sought after, of course, from collectors all over, especially in recent years. Now, in talking about the base set edition of the cards, there's a few things to keep in mind. If you're looking around at the base set cards, you'll notice a lot of differences between how the cards are named, and there are some minor differences in when the cards were released in the base set. So the first thing of note is there are first edition cards, which if this was a first edition Blastoise, it would have a black circle here on the left hand side with a 1 in the center, and it would say edition around it. That signifies that they're first edition. Of course, the first edition cards are going to be considered to be rare and more valuable, as they were only in the first prints of the cards. Then these, without the first edition stamp, are what they call unlimited run cards. So all three of these cards that I have here today are considered unlimited base set, and that just means that they were printed after the first editions. Another thing of note is you'll see cards say that they are shadowless. A shadowless card would be just like one of these, except it does not have this shadow effect around the border here. They added this in as a kind of depth effect to give the card more three-dimensional look, and the shadowless ones were again printed early on, and there are much fewer of them, so shadowless and first edition cards are considered to be rarer and more valuable. If a card is a first edition and shadowless, of course it's going to be considered the rarest from the base set, and so those cards are considered to be much more valuable. Another thing that goes into it obviously is the condition of the cards. So as we went through these three cards, there is some wear on them, some light playing, a couple nicks, scratches, wear on the edges. Anytime you see that, it is going to reduce the value of the card, whereas a card that's in near mint or mint condition would be worth more money. In those events also, people get them graded. They send them in to companies like PSA or Beckett to have those cards graded to increase their value, as those companies will certify that they're of a certain quality or a certain grade. And so what do you guys think? Let me know if I should get these cards graded. What do you think that they would be graded at from 1 to a 10 if I did get them graded? And I'll consider doing that as well. But they're in fairly good condition. Now, another thing to consider, obviously, is when you're buying cards, you want to ensure that you're getting something that is real and is of the condition that they're stated to be in. Of course, when you're looking at Pokemon cards from the base set, it's a lot easier to determine their whether they're real or not, their authenticity in person, where you can actually hold the card, look around, check the back, check the copyright logos down here on the bottom, making sure that the dates are correct, making sure that the print looks, authentic. If you're buying something off of eBay or something like that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to make sure that you're getting what you're paying for. There's been tons of times where people buy things off of eBay or other places, and they're never quite sure what they're going to get. So always just make sure that you check the seller reviews as well, and just make sure that you're doing something that you're not going to regret later on. Now, me personally, I bought these 3 cards from a local seller that I found online here in the area. So I was able to actually meet up with the person and, check out the cards before I actually bought them to determine that they were real and that they were in the condition that the advertiser that they were advertised in. So it's always a good idea not only to do that so that you can determine how authentic they are and what the condition they're in, but also help support, local collectors, local shops. If you have a card shop nearby, always a good idea to check them out first just to see what they have in stock because, they might be able to give you a pretty good deal. So like I said, I was able to pick these 3 cards up locally. They ran me $300 for the set. They were actually advertised at $375, and I was able to talk him down, which is another benefit of buying from someone that's local. For the condition that the cards are in, that's a fantastic deal. The Charizard itself, even in a lightly played condition, is going for roughly $250 to $300 on its own. So the Venusaur and the Blastoise, although going for less, under $100 each, is a fantastic deal for the 3 of them. So again, a good idea to buy locally so that you can, try to get a better deal, know what you're buying, and help support, local sellers, local shops. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think I should pick up next from the base set? Let me know if you think I should get these graded to see what they're actually rated at and possibly see if I can increase their value some more. Let me know what some of your favorite cards were and what you want to see on the channel in the future. Thanks.